Somebody big just died. Actor David McCallum, who gained fame from The Man from U.N.C.L.E and NCIS, is dead at 90 years old. Here to help eulogize him is Mike North. Mike North, how you doing, my friend?
How are you, Joe? It's good to talk to you. It's been a while. We had about a couple weeks without anybody big dying, but the reason this show is here is because to give more context to that person's life. If you read The Life of David McCallum, according to Variety and according to the other, I guess, papers, magazines, what have you, on the internet, he was Ducky. He was Ducky.
Ducky to a T.
Hey, let me just say this to everybody. I never saw it. I have never turned on CSA.
Really?
Never. I'm a guy that watches movie channels. I got like 20 of them. I'm a guy that watches sports and listens to music. As far as regular TV, the original CSI, oh yeah, Bill Peterson, my friend, and that. But after all the stuff started, expanding, I got away. But here's the thing. David McCallum might have worked there for 20 years, but in 1964, and we'll get to the rest, there was a show called The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh, yeah.
And Robert Vaughn was the star. And I interviewed Robert Vaughn when I was at the Score back in the day. And he said the greatest thing about Hollywood was being a bachelor. And he hung out with guys like Steve McQueen, who was friends with. I mean, it was fascinating stories. I later went to the Playboy Mansion, met guys like Robert Culp, met Martin Landau, old school studs. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the TV business back then was still in its infancy. TV had started in 1948, 49.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God I wasn't here for that yet. I'd even be older. But the beauty of somebody big just died, and the lack of beauty of it is I've seen all these people live. Like Brooks Robinson just passed away. We will be doing our show on Brooks Robinson Thursday, folks.
Yep, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central.
An hour before we were supposed to come on with David McCallum. I watched Brooks Robinson in every postseason he was ever in.
Hall of Famer.
I got that insight. I had Brooks Robinson on my shows a couple times. And as bad as it was, me and him got in a spirited discussion about who was the better hitter, Ron Santo or Brooks Robinson. I was pro Santo at the time. But you can't deny that he won 16 Gold Gloves, and we'll get to all that.
Oh, yeah.
What you can say is we knew about his career, but with David McCallum, he went through a period from being the fourth most, listen to this, male star at MGM as Ilya Kuryakin on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. got the fourth most letters, fan mail, Robert Taylor, Clark Gable, Elvis Presley, and David McCallum in the history of MGM, because he played a guy named Ilya Kuryakin who was a sex symbol. The girls loved him. They loved him. Flash a picture up there of him, Joy. Let's take a look at how pretty he is. Okay.
He's pretty, man.
He was a Russian spy. Now, Robert Vaughn, there he is. Robert Vaughn was supposed to be the star. But once everybody fell in love with this guy and loved his character, they became co-stars. So this was a guy that was subjugated to the second billing that made it to the first billing. One of the great shows of all time. Now, like I said, a lot of people watch that other show. I have no disrespect to that. That's not my thing. Joe, did you watch that show?
I did. I a big fan of NCIS. I mean, Ducky, he was the medical examiner on the show.
And I guess he knew everything about what it's like. I guess he studied. He could have been a medical examiner by the time he wanted to do the role.
That British wit, and then of course, he's like you said, he was a know-it-all. He kind of acted like he knew everything, and that was his character. And just kind of like this Man from U.N.C.L.E. character. I mean, unbelievable run he had in some television shows. And Mike, we were talking about The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I actually have a little bit of the opening sequence.
Oh, God, don't make me cry. It's sort of James Bondish. Back in 1964, James Bond was at the top of his game, Sean Connery. This is sort of like what they wanted. And Get Smart with Don Adams was a comedy takeoff of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. So let's take a look.
Wow. Such great music.
I'm 12 years old watching it every week. 12 years old. Destination television. David McCallum, I know he played that guy for 20 years, but it was an ensemble cast. David McCallum was never bigger than when he made Man from U.N.C.L.E. and The Great Escape. Now, his movie credits aren't vast, and he did have a lack of activity for some reason, and he had to go to Britain in the 70s and 80s and try to revive a career that was unbelievable. So he wasn't always busy, but then I looked at all his credits. He figured it out. And then it took him from 1964 all the way to CSI to get like a regular gig. Okay.
Yeah, he did random things like voice work. I saw he did some of that.
This
all
guy
over
got
the place.
The fourth most letters in MGM history. And 20 years later, after The Man from U.N.C.L.E.'s over, this guy's doing small theater in Britain. He's going home. He's and his agent was trying to get him something at the time.
Oh, definitely.
And he didn't look like he was 90, folks.
No, not at all.
Now, if you ever saw The Great Escape, he gets killed at the train station as he's giving himself up because the Gestapo realizes that Richard Attenborough and his, I think it was Trevor Howard or whoever, were going to be discovered. So he throws a rolling block into the guy. He starts running. Everybody gets out of the way and he gets shot. But that credit, along with The Man from U.N.C.L.E., was very out there, along with his CSI. Now, David was born September 19th, 1933 in Glasgow, Scotland, and the 25th of September. I mean, happy birthday to me. I'll be dead in a few days. I mean, think about that, folks. Right? And he was in good health. It's so weird. Weird sidebar to this. He was married to, and he was a war guy too. He fought in the war. A lot of these guys think these actors, most of them now today, are more, they're not the guys that you'd think would go to war. And then you start reading about Humphrey Bogart and David McCallum and Clark Gable and Jimmy Stewart. Elvis. They all went. None of these guys would go, but they all went during that time. He never gave up on his career, like Foster says. It paid off. He runs and gets machine guns to save the others. The Great Escape's. My wife loves The Great Escape, but I'm here to tell her at the time. I said, hey, it's a guy's flick. It's a guy's flick, and she loves it.
They made movies different back then, Mike. I stuff with David McCallum, his stuff is just classic.
It is. And here's another thing, Joe. When you think of David McCallum, he was married to Jill Ireland. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jill Ireland was hot. And he had 3 kids with her. And she was in movies. She was in a movie with, I want to say, I'm trying to remember exactly, from noon to midnight or something, from 10 to midnight, it's called, with Charles Bronson. Well, David McCallum on the set of The Great Escape was with Charles Bronson, McQueen, all the other guys in that ensemble. He introduces Joe Ireland, and this is what you don't read in the magazines, folks.
Nope.
This is what you don't read in the paper. He introduced Joe Ireland to Charles Bronson. The next thing you know, he's out the door, and Charles Bronson married Joe Ireland. So that's how that whole thing went down. His years active, listen to this career, 1946 to 2023. Are you kidding me?
That's quite a life, Mike.
It's quite a life. David McCallum, the man from U.N.C.L.E, and then he did NCIS. He was a composer. He wrote music.
Classically trained musician. He played the oboe, guitar, drums. I mean, what else could this guy possibly do, Mike?
I really believe that I don't know where you go to get oboe lessons. There's piano lessons.
I don't know, man.
There's guitar lessons. I might walk into a music store and go, I'd like to play the oboe just to see what everybody would get. But here, an excellent writer.
I wrote
crime novels.
Yeah, he published a book in 2016 called Once a Crooked Man.
Yeah. He's involved in charities that support the Marine Corps. He became a naturalized United States citizen. Left his other beautiful life, in England, which he loved, and became a citizen. This is where he made his money, and he had 6 grandchildren. And like I said, just a wonderful guy. He died at New York Presbyterian Hospital on the 25th of September, 2023.
Yeah, natural causes, they said, Mike. And like I said, amazing work he left behind. But I got to ask you, Mike, what's your, obviously you were a man from U.N.C.L.E guy.
Yes.
But what's your favorite, do you have a favorite episode? Do you have a favorite movie he was in?
Every episode they were in, they were the stars. And it was sort of like an I Spy thing. If you remember I Spy with Bill Cosby and Robert Culp.
Yeah.
It was to me, my favorite. I don't have an episode that stands out because, to be honest with you, that was 60 years ago. I remember them. They don't play. They don't play much of them on TV. What I loved them for was The Great Escape. I loved him for The Great Escape. He plays the unassuming guy. When the Gestapo goes on the train, he's got the glasses on. He just got you could feel the fear and the tenseness. And that's great acting, not to even say a word, but to use your facial expression, to hold the paper up, to know that the Gestapo's behind you. So the thing we got to do before we say goodbye to everybody. Yes, he was a great human being, definitely about it, and a patriotic American, no doubt about that. Just a patriot. So I want to say this show is going to be on again Thursday. It's not possible without Cumberland Chapels. There they are, 8300 West Lawrence Avenue, Norwich, Illinois, 708-456-8300. Wonderful, wonderful place. They'll walk you through everything. They make it easy for you at a time of grieving. The Lupos, everybody out there, we love you very much, and we appreciate all your support. Check them out, folks. Just go to cumberlandchapels.com. It's laid out all for you, all your arrangements. Mention my name. Hey, you get a prime spot for that loved one. You might get little chapel. You might get the little chapel. And I've been eating at these people's facilities from Basta Pasta to now Tony Antonacci's Pennyville station, 112 Main Street. His father, Tino, on the premises. Believe me, you won't find people that are on top of things, that make the restaurant experience great. The food, outstanding. Menu, variety.
Okay. That lobster roll is unbelievable, Mike.
Yeah, of course it is. And then you have a good place to meet, good place for couples. And if you want to meet somebody over there, take it. It's right across from the train station in downtown.
Beautiful location.
So that's my my take on somebody big just died. David McCallum, as soon as I heard it, all my favorite TV heroes from back in the day. I go back to Chuck Connors. I go back to David McCallum, Robert Vaughn. I interviewed them. Connors and Vaughn, they're gone a long time now. So life is precious. David McCallum got the most of it. Any parting words, Joe?
I loved him on NCIS. You loved him from Man from U.N.C.L.E. It just shows you how much of a career this guy, he captured a great character many years ago and currently on NCIS. And it just goes to show you, you can just have to get into the right role and everyone's going to love you.
And to keep grinding and never give up.
Never give up.
Yeah, because there's somebody out there that's going to go, well, wait a minute, this guy's pretty good. So on behalf of everybody, at 15 blocks from Cumberland Chapels. Yeah, that's a safe distance while you're rolling.
Hey, we appreciate everybody in the chat room.
Oh, there's a ton of them tonight, and we appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate David McCallum. Our condolences to the
Absolutely.
McCallum family. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. See you
We'll see
Thursday on Somebody Big Just Died.
you guys next time.